Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Light Bites. Today we have guest artists. It's not Trio Solitude, so I hope you're ready. We have the percussion ensemble from Suny Ulster. Chris Early is the director. And I am going to let him tell you everything that you need to know. Enjoy.
Thank you. We're really pleased to be here. Again, this is the Suny Ulster Percussion Ensemble. My name is Chris Early. I'm the director of the ensemble as well as the coordinator of the music program at Suny Ulster. We're going to play 4 selections for you tonight. We'll talk a little bit about each piece, sometimes before, sometimes after. We'll also introduce all the performers before the end of the evening. But I thought we'd start by playing one piece for you. This is called Taiko a la Tom Tom. Some of you may be familiar with the word taiko, which is traditional drumming of Japan. This piece really in no way encapsulates Japanese drumming in any way. The title seems fairly arbitrary, but we've enjoyed playing it, and I hope you enjoy listening to it. So again, that was Taiko a la Tom Tom. I'll talk a little bit about percussion ensemble in general, since some might not be familiar with this type of ensemble is all about. More often than not, you'll see percussionists in the back of the ensemble, waiting measure upon measure to play maybe a single note, or maybe 2 notes even, or 3 notes, but not many. So percussionists, not actually all that long ago, maybe we're talking about 100 years ago, began forming groups just like we're seeing here, quartets, quintets, and more, and composers began writing for this collection of instruments. And because the percussion could literally be anything as long as you strike it, we really work in the world of different timbres and different sounds. And so tonight we'll be working with a lot of those different timbres. And in fact, the first piece we played for you was entirely a drum piece. We were just using tom-toms. This next piece is actually going to be working with a different timbre, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But that's a big part of playing percussion, is it kind of exploring all the different sounds in the world and different timbres and how they can be placed together. Now, before I play this next piece, I'd like to introduce the ensemble. I'll kind of work my way around. Excuse me. So on the far end, we have Abby Dreyer, who's joining us actually this year. She was with the ensemble a few years back before moving off to college, and currently she's studying at Manhattan College here this last year virtually, so we were pleased that she's able to play us as well as she's up here. And then we have Anna Dreyer, who's a Socrates High School student, and has been with us now, I think this is your 2nd year, right? I think, which again, very, very pleased to have community members. And then we have also a couple SUNY Ulster students. We have Jeremy Valenciano, who's been with the ensemble now 2 years, and Andrew Barisi, who's been with the ensemble for now a year. And all of our groups actually at Suny Ulster have both student participants and also community members. So if you have an interest in joining any one of our groups, percussion ensemble being one of them, we have a jazz ensemble, string ensemble, wind ensemble, community band, college chorus, I could go on, guitar ensemble. We have a lot to choose from, and we certainly encourage community participation. So if anybody's interested, they can certainly reach out to me at Suny Ulster. My name is quite easily to find there, Chris Early. We'll move on and play another piece for you now. This is a piece entitled, very, very appropriately, Clapping Music. It was written by the American composer Steve Reich back in 1972. It's actually a very well-known piece, remarkably, and purely for, for a lot of reasons, but the unique instrumentation is certainly one of those. So it is entirely clapping, as the title suggests. And there's a really interesting sort of concept behind it. Steve Reich is known for being a minimalist composer, and this is a pretty good example of that, where he's taking one concept and then slightly modifying it throughout the performance. In this case, we have one rhythm that will be clapped by, it's set up in two parts. So one group will play this one rhythm repeatedly out through the entire composition. And in fact, both parts will begin playing that same rhythm together. But slowly, over time, the rhythm will be shifted by 1/8 note. So basically, 1/8 note will be removed, and it'll start a little bit early, and then a few measures will go by, and that same rhythm will be shifted back again. And so you're actually hearing the same rhythm being played over and over and over again, but just out of phase with itself. And eventually, after going through 12 different cycles of this shifting, the rhythm will come back around on itself, and everybody will be joined together again. So it's a really intriguing work, because one would think it would just sound sort of like chaos to have just a bunch of clapping coming at you. But it actually comes across as a really intriguing composition with many different sounds and grooves kind of established as the piece goes through these transformations. So it's really fascinating work. We've enjoyed performing it. Hopefully you'll enjoy listening to it. This is Steve Reich's Clapping Music. Okay, so that was Steve Reich's Clapping Music, and it's actually kind of nice to perform this piece without a live audience, because it's always awkward at the end of the clapping music, is what does the audience do after hearing a piece that was entirely clapping for 4 or 5 minutes? so we don't have to worry about that today. So again, nice job performing that. We're going to move on to a next piece, also very, very appropriately titled. So we just had clapping music. This next piece is called Wood, Metal, Skin, for a very specific reason, because the instruments that are used in this piece are either wood. In this case, we have, in fact, maybe we could do a little demonstration. Maybe, Andrew, you could actually hold up and then play. So we have a wood block that is being played for the wood sound. And so this piece is actually quite adaptable. The composer allowed for the performers to kind of choose from whatever. So literally, the performers could have gone out and picked up a block of wood, and that could have become the literal wood block. They could have played on any number of other wood surfaces. They could have actually used a drum and used the shell of the drum for the wood surface. So there's no specific wood sound, but we decided to use wood blocks, and we actually have two wood blocks being played for this one. And hers is a slightly different pitch, which is actually interesting to hear the different sounds between those two. So that's the wood sound. For metal, in the world of metal, we have lots to choose from in the world of percussion. We could have cymbals, we could have triangles, there's pretty much, again, anything that is metal could have sufficed for the metal sound. In this case, we chose a cowbell. Maybe you can go ahead and play that. Excellent. Well done. And plenty of wood cowbells out there in the world, and that was the best sound we could come up with. So nice playing. And then we also have skin. Again, with the world of percussion, obviously, when one thinks of percussion, they likely think of drums. And so in the case of skin, we're thinking about the membrane that makes up the drum, and so we've selected a concert tom. Or actually, we selected bongos, didn't we? Yeah. Excellent. So the piece is quite fun to play. I've actually done this one before with more performers than this, so it's kind of nice to have these compositions that are adaptable in this way, and we can select different instruments. And actually, a couple of years back, we did this with two different sounds, actually two different performances. So we had one set of wood sounds, and then we shifted to a different set of wood sounds, so you can actually hear how the timbre changes, because that's what, again, makes percussion so interesting, is all the different timbral possibilities. So this is Wood, Metal, Skin by Josh Gottry. Great, so that we have one more selection to play for you today. This is called Black Racer by Brian Bloom. A lot like our first selection, the title has virtually nothing to do with the piece. We were joking actually just before we went on about this. I didn't tell the percussion ensemble at all about this piece and what it meant. And as it turns out, it means nothing. The composer was working on this piece, and during that time of working on it, he was out in his garage looking around and just happened to see a snake scurry across his garage. Didn't know what it was. I worried that it was venomous and that might be dangerous to him. He did some research and discovered that the snake was called, or named, Black Racer. So the piece title has nothing to do with the music itself. It was just a cool name, he thought, called Black Racer. And here we go, Black Racer. Before we play this last one, I just wanted to do a couple thank yous. Wanted to thank Anastasia Solberg for inviting the Suny Ulster Percussion Ensemble to come out and perform. It's been a lot of fun working with the percussion ensemble this semester, and it's nice to have an opportunity to, in fact, play for people, even if no one is here to see us in person. Out there in the virtual world, it's fantastic. The music is being heard. And I also wanted to thank the ensemble members. It's certainly a different world we're living in than it was just a year ago with some of the rehearsals that we're working with. But it's been really nice to make music with other human beings, and it feels as though we've really accomplished quite a lot. So again, thank you all. Appreciate the work you've done, and hopefully you enjoy Black Racer. Thank you. The Suny Ulster Percussion Ensemble.
Well, just now we got the call that our internet has been restored. Doesn't do us much good anymore, does it? For those who are going to be listening to this after the fact, because I heard through Facebook that the volume was very low and very difficult to understand. Therefore, we are going to upload it and put on the recording this evening. And it'll be up for 24 hours, so everybody needs to go and listen to it if they want to listen to it. I will then, eventually, when my computer decides to work, upload it to, what do you call that? YouTube, and hopefully it'll be there for everybody to get at any future date. Thank you, Chris, so much for coming in, and I hope that we can collaborate again in the near future. It's been a long year, and we haven't seen each other the whole semester, 2 semesters, or whatever it was when COVID came. That was a long time ago. Yeah, we haven't seen each other since then. So this is great that we could be together again in the same room and have something else in my ears besides violins and violas and cello. Okay, so our next Light Bites is in 2 weeks, and there will be Stephanie Starn on flute will be accompanying us. We'll be doing a piece by a local New York composer for flute and string quartet. Plus, actually, it's for string duo. It's for violin. No, it's for flute, cello, and viola. And Stephanie and I will also be doing a potpourri of songs imitating animals for flute and viola. I don't remember which animals we chose. I think the viper was in there. Speaking of the black racer, we have to make a connection, you know. Anyway, we chose 4 animals. One's a waltz. Oh, I know what it is. It's the flea. It's a waltzing flea, a water flea. It's a lot of fun, actually. Aside from that, we're going to play Mozart, flute quartet. And for those who have been following the Hindemith series, we're on the last movement of our Hindemith trio. Jim is clapping because he'll be glad to see the end of Hindemith. But anyway, it's very exciting. It's a wonderful movement. It has 3 parts. It has a fast part, and then it has a middle part, and then it has its slow, and then they have another fast part, and even a faster part. And then it ends. But it's a fugue. So you get to hear the theme over and over again in all kinds of interesting combinations. So that is our next Light Bites. And I don't know what else is happening for June yet. You'll just have to wait and see. But we do have a collaborative children's program planned for July. And there'll be a Zoom concert in June with flute and oboe and strings. Lots of Mozart. And there'll be some other stuff. We'll let you know. Hope to see you soon. Good night.